Are you wondering if you should quit your job? Today I'm going to give you 17 reasons why you should quit your job. Now stay with me until the very end. Number 15 and number 16 are tests that you can perform so that you know whether or not you should quit your job. If you haven't subscribed yet, then hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, hit the bell. That allows you to be notified every time I post a new video just like this. My name is Stoltzfus. I'm the founder of the Job Hackers Network. This is where we help leaders to build their brand and overall grow their impact. I wanted to give a little bit of order and structure to this, so I'm breaking up the 17 reasons into 4 categories. And those are work, leadership, recognition, and self. So let's dive into the first one. As regards to work, what would give you the reasons or the signs that you should quit your job? The first one is that your work does not play to your strengths. If you are finding that your work is not allowing you to do the activities that strengthen and fuel you and feed you, as you're paying attention to your energy, are you being called to do the work that weakens you, that makes you feel like a vacuum is sucking the energy out of you? Or are you able to do work that plays to your strengths-based lane where energy is funneling into you? If not, then this is a sign that you should probably quit your job. The second one that relates to work is whether or not you're being challenged in the work that you're doing. If you're finding that the work is mundane, that you're not able to exercise new mental muscles, that you're not able to grow, then you're probably falling behind, right? Falling behind the marketplace, falling behind other candidates, and you're just not going to be energized by that work. You have to be challenged by the work that you're doing to continue to stay sharp and continue to grow. Number 3, if you're finding that you're watching that clock tick by, like you did when you were sitting there in grade school and everything was going so damn slow, that's probably a sign you should quit your job. If you are on the other side of the tape, you're not looking at the clock, you're in the work, you're focused, you're drawn in, well, this is the opposite, right? This is also a sign that you're playing to your strengths, the work that you love, the work that really fuels and engages you. But if you're sitting there and you're just staring up, we've all had those jobs. Hopefully you're not in one right now. But if you're watching this video, you might be. Where you're staring up at that clock, just feeling every tick, tock, tick, tock. That is a sign that you should probably quit your job. Number 4 is that you're being offered inadequate resources and support to be successful. If you're not able to deliver, if that leadership team is not stepping up and giving you what you need to have a chance to be successful in the delivery of your work, then it's probably a sign that they're not invested in you, that they're not invested in the work that you're delivering, and that things are not set up for you to be able to excel. This is probably a sign that you should quit your job. Now, I just want to give you kind of a PSA, a public service announcement. I am not creating this video with a light heart. I care about you, right? Every single individual viewer who's watching this video. And so if you're seeing these things and you are thinking about quitting your job, please be thoughtful about how you do it. Be aware that even for myself, I've helped hundreds of individuals to be able to navigate the strategic side of their job search when they do decide to quit their job or when they're laid off. So just please be aware, this video is not recorded haphazardly or frivolously, because quitting your job is a big deal. The next category that we're going to enter is the category of leadership. Leadership can absolutely make or break job satisfaction. Let's talk about 5 components, reasons why you should quit your job related to leadership. The first one in leadership, the 5th point overall, is that the company's direction does not align with your personal values. The direction that leadership has, that future direction, is just not aligned to something that you value innately within yourself. It could be that the product you don't feel is really serving humanity, serving its clients. You know potentially that there's an issue with the product quality, and that doesn't fit with your value proposition. There have been multiple jobs in my career that I have quit because I knew that the product was not as good as we were representing. And that just flat out didn't align with my value proposition. It's part of why I started my own company, so that I could control that quality. The second one in the leadership category is when corruption is ultimately winning the day. What do I mean by this? When you're looking around at the landscape and you're saying, I know this person is not an honest person, but they keep getting promoted. Their dishonesty is winning the day. When leadership is saying win at all costs, right? From a sales perspective, they might be encouraging you to lie without saying the word lie. Sometimes they might actually be saying the word lie. But they're looking the other direction when an individual does lie and brings in that sale. But you know that when they hand it off to implementation and customer service, it's going to tank. If you know that the product that you all are putting forward is not matching to the expectation of what you're representing it as, that's corrupt. But ultimately, people are being praised for working in that system of corruption. And that is not a place that you want to be. That would be a reason why you would want to quit. The third reason in leadership, the seventh reason overall, is when you're feeling like you should just keep your head down and just keep pushing forward. If you have expressed yourself and it is not received and it's squashed and you're feeling pressed down, if you've seen others express themselves, bring ideas forward, but then maybe punishment or even worse, retaliation, right, comes into play because people are bringing their ideas forward. If you don't have the ability to challenge the system, to challenge leadership, to be greater, right, to continually be greater, that's innovation, then it might be a time for you to leave that organization that doesn't have that focus towards innovation and towards continued growth for you or for the organization. The fourth one in the realm of leadership is if you ever find yourself using the word toxic when you're thinking about or when you're describing your work environment. Toxic is I would say it's probably the number one buzzword that when I'm talking to individuals over the phone, and I do talk to about 3 job seekers over the phone every single day, when they bring up that word toxic, then it's one word that says so much. It means all of these things, being pressed down, not having the ability to grow. It brings to bear that there might be some of the isms present: racism, ageism, sexism, bullying. All of these things can be present in a work environment. And when they are, it's the leadership that's allowing or bringing those things forward. And so from that leadership perspective, it might be time for you to quit and move on. The fifth and last one in the leadership category is if you find that you're being put in front of you unreasonable and unattainable expectations. One of the ways that people describe this is being set up to fail. That they feel that no matter what they do, it is outside of their control, outside of their ability to succeed. If you feel like you are consistently being handed unreasonable expectations, things that you just can't control, that you can't even get to, and you're held to those expectations, then it might be a time for you to quit. If you're finding this discussion to be enlightening, but it's causing you to think, but what next? What do I do? How do you approach a strategic job search with process? I'm linking down in the description below a link to Unleash Your Career, a free training to enable you to follow process and strategy to actually go about that job hunt if you do decide to quit.
Are you ready to start or optimize your job search process? Do you feel stuck and need help connecting the dots? Join this free web class where you'll learn the step-by-step formula to control your career progression. We've helped hundreds of experienced engineering and operations leaders just like you to build their brand and grow their impact. Register for this exclusive training today to step into the driver's seat of your career.
The next category is recognition. Recognition is an absolutely critical factor in your job satisfaction. Let's go ahead and look at a shortened list, 3 areas where recognition, or the lack thereof, could cause you to need to quit. All right, in the realm of recognition, this is number 1. Overall, number 10, when you are the frequent recipient of broken promises. Broken promises can happen all along the way, directly from the company, from HR. It can relate to compensation, it can relate to bonuses, it can relate to promotions. They can also come directly from leadership. But if you're finding yourself frequently being promised things and then not receiving those things, it could be minor things too. It could be resources, big or minor, that were promised to you but not delivered, right? It could be that you were going to get up on stage and be able to be the one presenting a project, and all of a sudden it gets snatched away from you. So it could be those visibility points. But if you find yourself frequently not getting the things that were promised to you, then how can you trust that organization? How can you trust that leadership team? It might be time for you to look for those greener pastures and quit. Number 11, number 2 in recognition, is when you're passed up for promotions that you know you have earned. One of the best ways to earn a promotion is to start doing the work before you have the title. Oftentimes people will do this by taking on an interim assignment. Maybe you took on that interim assignment and the plan was you were gonna get the job after 3 months, and all of a sudden they hired somebody else and here you are back to doing your day job, right? After doing 2 jobs for the last 3 months. If you're at that place where you've multiple times, multiple years, multiple seasons, you've done that work to get to that next level and you're overlooked, it might be time for you to quit. The third one in the area of recognition is when you're seeing individuals around you being laid off and you're feeling that insecurity bubble start to creep in on you. And so you're asking yourself, what would put me in the situation, the position of having the most control? Potentially, maybe you start looking strategically for that next layer, that next job, so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you were laid off and the timing was really bad, right? When you're in the position of choosing to quit, you are in a position of control. As long as you're doing the things that you need to do from a next step perspective to be able to connect to that next role. If this is helping you, then hit that like button down below and then answer this question in the comments. Are you receiving the recognition that you know you deserve? Comment below. Now we're really getting down to the best stuff. Those relating to the most impactful component, which is self. So let's talk about 5 reasons why you might quit your job because of, or in the realm of, self. The first one in this category, number 13 of overall in our 17, is if you're feeling like you're not being pushed to, or you're feeling like you're not being allowed to grow. Your career is something that must be cultivated. And when you're looking at your overall career, are you notching up as you go along? Are you gaining new experiences? Are you gaining new insights? Are you gaining new technical capabilities? Are you growing? And if you are asking to grow and bringing forward ideas and being told no and being told get back in your lane, get back in the day job, get back in the work, and you are already doing the work, you're not neglecting that, then it might be time for you to look elsewhere. You are not being invested in. You are not being developed for the overall picture of what your career is going to look like. The second one in self, number 14 overall, this one hits hard. Again, I told you that I speak to about 3 individuals in the job market every day, and I hear about this one a lot. Ryan, my physical health is declining, or my psychological health is declining. When you're experiencing that decline in physical health or psychological health and you know it's work-related, then that is absolutely a time to get very thoughtful about your situation, potentially a time to quit. Now, it's also potentially a time for you to ask for a leave of absence. So keep that in mind, that a leave of absence might also be available to you from your company. Your physical health and your psychological health is critical. You have made commitments, of course to the company, but you have made personal commitments to yourself, to your spouse if you have one, to your children if you have them, that you're gonna be a certain level of human, that you're gonna show up in a certain way. And if your work is not enabling you to do that, then you may need to quit. You may need to take that hard line in the sand. Now, I told you that I was going to have some good ones at the end that provide a form of a test. And the first one, at number 15, the third one in self, this is going to be the front door test. If you're getting home at the end of the day and you don't have energy when you walk through the front door of your home, energy to give to your commitments, to give to your wife, to give to your spouse, to give to your children, then you are not passing the front door test. There was a point in my career where I failed the front door test. This is about 6 years ago. As I was walking through the front door of a new home that I had just built with tile floors, my 2-year-old daughter Olivia would run up to me at the end of the day and say, "Daddy, be my horsey," with bated anticipation, those big eyes. "Daddy, be my horsey." What she meant was get down on your hands and knees and let me ride on your back. I had 4 knee surgeries, no meniscus in my left knee, and a ruptured disc in my L2. So what did I do? I got down on the dadgum floor and I was a horsey. I did this for about 2 weeks. And then my wife came to me and said, "Hey, Ryan, have you noticed what's happening at the end of the day when you come home?" She said, I admitted I didn't. And so she said, "Ryan, when you come home, you're asking Olivia if you can be a snake, if she'll walk on your back." It was like a light bulb moment. Like a light bulb just went absolutely off. And I realized I was not passing the front door test because my work was depleting me. And I knew I was at a point where I either had to quit or I had to rebrand myself. And I was able in this situation to rebrand myself towards career development, get the lines of sight from the right individuals to take over the global career development teaching program across the world for ADP, and play to the work, the activities that fueled and engaged me and lit me up so that I could meet my commitments as a father, as an engaged father to my 2-year-old at the time, and then later Daniel that came a couple years later. This is the commitment you've made to your family, to show up in a certain way. Sometimes we have to quit our job, go in another direction to be able to be that human that we decided we were going to be. The next component is another big test that you've got to put before you. This is number 16 overall and number 4 in the self. And this is the dinner table test. When you sit down to the dinner table with your family, one of the most common questions is, how was your day? And if you find that you are consistently being very negative in how you answer that question, talking about things that failed, bad interactions, communications, well, my boss did this, and then this happened, and then I was pushed down in this. If it's all about the negative, then you have to take a seat, lean back and assess. Is it time for you to move on? The worst, though, is number 17. If they stop asking the question at the dinner table. So now you're at the dinner table, and because you've been negative so many times, the how was your day just stops. They know what the answer is going to be, and they just stop asking the question because they don't want to hear it anymore. You are absolutely in that way not showing up as you stated that you would. You have lost control of that measure of your life. One of the ways you take it back is you get purposeful and you say, no, I am going to be strategic. I'm going to follow process. I'm going to quit this job, but I'm going to be in control of the process to find the next one. And that's where I want to give you a little bit more help. If you're not sure what those next steps are, go down to the description below. You'll find a link to a free training to help you unleash your career, to help you brand yourself, to bring process to the search, to avoid gatekeepers and go right to hiring leaders. This is about networking and controlling your brand and selling yourself effectively. So please look in the description for that link. To gain further assistance, please take a look at these videos that are above you in either corner. These will help you to brand yourself more effectively, control aspects of your career and your trajectory, and grow your impact. I'll see you on the next one.